people of the World Wide Web. So this is Cypher Sigma Screen Time here for a little different video of sorts. So this comes from many discussions I've had. As you can tell, I'm not in my usual surroundings. So essentially it came from a conversation a long time ago where I was asked the question of, why do I go to the cinema and what kind of is my reasoning for it over anything else and stuff. And I tried to get out my words, but I struggled a bit at the time because it was a live stream. But, my theory has always been it's the atmosphere, I don't necessarily have the massive setup at home for sound and everything like this, and I do enjoy that, but I do feel for me it is a way to support a movie. And I've had this kind of discussion with the guys or something before, for me, as I say, it is supporting the movie industry. And I know people have their own and ahs and say, well, I don't buy a lot of them brand new, and I'm helping with the second-hand market, which yes, I am in certain areas. But the thing that matters for most ones when a film comes out, the thing that's going to make that movie big or succeed or fail is the box office. I could go and buy 500 copies of it on DVD or Blu-ray. I'm very unlikely, unless it comes a massive cult hit, that to even make a dent on how good the movie is. So going seeing it at the cinema, and yes, obviously people would have said, like, I have a Cineworld card, I'm hardly spending any money. But as I've said in previous videos, that even though I had a Cineworld card and I used to go see, it probably cost me like £1 or £2 per screen, I would buy stuff when I was there. I'd buy coffees and stuff that is owned by the one. So, I would spend more than enough money to compensate the cinema for them. So it's not like I just paid my membership and went. Yeah, but as I said, the reason is I am supporting the movie industry. And obviously, it's twofold. There are some movies that obviously merchandise would do, and I do buy merchandise and toys and stuff like this. So I am supporting it, that side of thing. The prime example is obviously, I think the 2017, I think it was, Power Rangers movie. Obviously, that wasn't received very well at the box office. It didn't do that great, but it sold a lot of toys. So as far as I'm aware, for Hasbro, that it actually did make them a lot of money, even though they didn't make a second movie. Just something to consider. But this is what this is why my angle is always, going to cinema to experience stuff and to do it, because obviously if you don't, it won't be there, and when it's not there, then that's what it is. And kind of my argument had always been is obviously streaming movies. So I've watched streaming movies. I don't rate many of them. Obviously, there was, I think, Atlas that was out last year that I really enjoyed. But, I watch a lot of streaming movies, or straight to streaming movies, I should say. And there's not that memorable ones. But this is where this conversation is going to come to fruition, hopefully. So obviously a lot of people had mentioned about the movie Carry On, and this is, I'll put it up here, so this is the camera. So obviously I hadn't watched it, but obviously being here, I've just been on a plane. I downloaded the movie on my Netflix app, and I watched it on a plane over. And I must admit, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. It is not a perfect movie by any chance. I really like Jason Bateman as the bad guy, and it did flounder a little bit near the end. But overall, as movies goes, and I've seen a lot of movies, it is by far one of the better ones done, specifically last year. Now, I kind of give up the post. My stance is always that, if we don't go to cinema, we will have streaming movies only. And obviously, because I don't think they're that great, that's, I feel the movie industry will hinder. And this is where kind of the logic of the cinema is coming into play in this one. So I watch a lot of streaming movies while I'm at home, and I can be open and honest that I go on my phone when I'm watching these films. When I'm watching series, me and my wife, we play games and stuff like that to earn money for our stuff, for Amazon vouchers. So we're always on our phones checking stuff. I don't always pay attention. I can openly, hand on heart, say that is true. Maybe this is part of the reason why I don't focus as much and don't enjoy movies, because you miss bits. Obviously, when you go into that cinema environment, I don't touch my phone, unless it was, well, when I had a watch that was linked to my phone, which I don't no longer had now. When that was it, that was the only time I touched my phone. When someone would message me and I knew it was an important message, I'd get my phone out. Otherwise, my phone stays in my pocket, and that's where it stays. And most of the cinemas I go to in the screens, people don't seem to do that as much. They do it before and afterwards, but not really between. Maybe I'm just lucky, who knows. But yeah, as I found, so obviously I'd heard things about this movie. A lot of people hadn't liked it, so I went and watched it on the plane. Really, really enjoyed it. Came off, but because I'm on my phone, because I'm on a plane, there's other people around me. There's people talking and stuff like this. But I had my earphones in. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm on like a tiny little screen, like this big, so not a TV. So it's not like I had the setup for a cinema. But it was a thoroughly enjoyable movie. I said I do actually really rate it. And then when I looked online, it was the most watched movie of 2024 for streaming for Netflix. It was, so the fact of Netflix had only released a trailer or something, and and that's all that kind of there is at the cinema. It's probably less promotion on Netflix than it is at the cinema, and this caused people to go watch this in droves and probably the millions. Obviously, I don't know the exact figure. But then you look at the reviews on IMDb and stuff, and everybody's like, "Well, it was not very good." And compared to this, there are some people that say, "Oh, it's starting to be more of an action movies, and maybe if they brought these movies back, it would be enjoyable." I get it that it's not the 90s anymore. But at the end of the day, if you make a movie and you release it and a lot of people go watch it, who does it matter if it doesn't, if it's woke, so to speak, or it doesn't meet some of the normal criteria? Because that's at the end of the day what the studios are making films for now. They're making films for people to want to go see them, and they want to make money. If you don't make money, you don't get them. A prime example of this is Transformers 1. Transformers 1 is a great movie, but people didn't go to see it. They used other methods. And yes, it did have toys to go with it, and they sold okay, but it didn't make a good enough money for Hasbro to make a second one. And this is, if you're watching this video, if you're a part of my chat, been watching my channel or something, you are part of the online community that likes movies and stuff. So why aren't we supporting movies like this? Why aren't we going to the cinemas to watch stuff like this? Or why aren't we enjoying it? Because I'm going to say that I can pretty much guarantee from my experiences that everybody that went to cinema to watch Transformers 1 would have enjoyed it and weren't on their phone. I can probably pretty much guarantee that everybody who either pirated it or watched it online in one way or another would have been on their phone, would have not paid attention to 100% of that movie. There may be the small percentage that aren't, and this is what and this is why it's kind of part of, I want to still support the cinema and stuff like this, but I think this is also the part. It's not necessarily that they're making really, really bad only streaming movies or movies that are direct to streaming. It's the fact of you're in that environment when you're at home and you're on phone distracted and that, and when you don't pay attention to a story, and especially stories nowadays that can be a little bit more complex or need more explanation, you miss these parts, and that's why you don't enjoy it. Anyway, that's just kind of a revelation for me that I've had while enjoying this movie. Have you seen the movie Carry On? What did you think? Did you enjoy it? And I asked a question, if you did enjoy it or you didn't enjoy it, what are your reasons for, and have you ever did you watch the whole movie without looking at your phone? Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below. I've been Cypher Sigma Screen Time. This has been a little kind of thought bubble for mine. Sorry about the backdrop. But yeah, if you like this video and like my channel, please do subscribe. And if anything, you don't need to subscribe, you don't need to comment. My one thing for you would be if you could support the movie industry in any which way, whether that's just going to the cinema once a month or once every few months or doing something like that, I would appreciate that. Anyway, I've been Cypher Sigma Screen Time, and I shall see you in the next one.